A long time ago, in the history of India, there was a period in which the British reigned over the country. This started with the arrival of the British East India Company in 1604. They started out as just friendly traders, but their true intent came to light when they started oppressing the Indian public in order to control them and the country. Soon, India became a British colony whose every action was controlled by the British Crown. This continued up to 1947, when the bravery of Indian freedom fighters finally resulted in the departure of the British and India becoming a free country. The British landed in Surat in 1604, but the British rule of the East India Company and eventually the British Crown started in 1612. Can you believe that our country was shackled for almost 335 years? They came under the facade of simple traders who formed the East India Company, which soon spread out to all Indian cities from its base in Calcutta. Soon, the Britishers realized that India was divided into many provinces as opposed to a single united country. They saw that there was no unity among the rulers of the provinces, and they took advantage of this fact. They took this opportunity to turn the provinces against each other by bribing and threatening them. Lord Wellesley and Lord Dalhousie introduced strict policies which did more harm than good. After acquiring territory, they decided to target the economy next. By all unfair means, they controlled traders and businesses in India to increase their own wealth. They passed laws and controlled law and order. With the help of the police, they tortured anyone who sought freedom. This caused great unrest amongst the Indian public and led to the growth of nationalism and the beginning of the freedom struggle. Leaders emerged from the public like shining beacons of hope. Leaders like Dadabhai Naoroji, Jyotiba Phule, and Raja Ram Mohan Roy were the first few people to stand up to the British oppression. To combat the Britishers, a few brave soldiers came together and started the Sepoy Mutiny, which resulted in the First War of Independence. Though this was short-lived, it was full of passion and inspiration to those who would fight for the country in the years to come. Rani Lakshmibai, who fought in the First War against the British policy of doctrine of lapse, emerged as an inspiration to men and women alike.
खूब लड़ी मर्दानी थी, वो झांसी वाली रानी थी.
The emerging of leaders motivated the people of India greatly, and soon a vast multitude of many such people emerged from all parts of the country. The leaders then came together and formed the Congress Party. This frightened the British, as they had previously not received any major opposition from the public before. Like any major organization, at first there were a few rifts between the members of the Congress, but they soon realized that since the Britishers were intimidated by them, these internal fights would result in the gain of the Britishers. Thus, they stood united against the common enemy. Bal Gangadhar Tilak was an advocate for freedom. He was well educated and was part of the Lal Bal Pal trio. He coined the famous phrase,
Swaraj is my birthright, and I shall have it.
Khudiram Bose was a young freedom fighter who, because of his bold moves for freedom, was taken into custody and then was part of a one-sided court battle, as a result of which he lost his life as he was sentenced to death.
Ami hashi hashi purbo fashi dekhbe bharut bashi ekbar biday de ma घुरे आशी.
Subhash Chandra Bose was one of the greatest leaders of the freedom struggle. He formed the Indian National Army and was pivotal in India gaining her independence. He said,
तुम मुझे खून दो और मैं तुम्हें आजादी दूंगा,
which means give me blood and I shall give you freedom.
दिल्ली चलो
And
जय हिंद
were also coined by him. Gandhiji is the most well-known leader of the freedom struggle. He was a strong believer in the policy of ahimsa or non-violence, and he believed that leading a non-violent struggle would be most beneficial in the fight for freedom. He started the Dandi March and was the founder of the Non-Cooperation and the Civil Disobedience Movement. He was a believer in communal harmony, and due to his persistent efforts in gaining freedom, he is also known as the father of the nation. The arrival of these heroes shook the British government to its core, as this time the might of the masses was behind the freedom struggle too. Seeing the extent to which the passion for freedom and the hatred towards the British Raj had spread, the British decided that continuing to stay in India would not be beneficial to anyone any longer. Thus, on 15th August 1947, when the clock struck 12, India was finally free again, as she fought for her independence, and she prevailed.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Happy Independence Day and Jai Hind.